The small town of White Salmon, Washington seems to have it all: picturesque views and white picket fences. But when it comes to the basics like water, power, and trash pickup, there's one service that's missing: mail. The U.S. Postal Service doesn't deliver within city limits. Instead, most residents have to pay for a P.O. box.
You would think that with our taxes and all that we would be able to have our mail delivered like everybody else.
Even people who live just blocks from the post office have to pay to get their mail.
You know, you have to have mail. They say you got to pay for it. Well, here I am. What am I going to do?
And it isn't cheap. P.O. box prices keep climbing.
My box is $200 a year.
It's something that many of our residents have been dealing with for decades.
White Salmon Mayor Marla Keithler sees it up close. For people here, mail isn't just letters. It's medication, legal documents, and in Washington, it's how you vote.
Does this complicate things?
In White Salmon, the fact that you need to rent a post office box and take on that cost in order to have an address for your ballot to be delivered is something that we find alarming when you really think about it.
Would it be fair to say you're paying to vote?
When you reduce it down, that's what it feels like.
Several years ago, the city of White Salmon came up with a solution. They designed a delivery route and bought group mailboxes to place around town.
So these are our cluster boxes.
But the U.S. Postal Service wasn't interested in creating new routes, so those mailboxes now sit in storage.
So now we have a town's worth of cluster boxes and no residents to be able to get mail from them.
If that isn't frustrating enough, get this. The Postal Service is supposed to provide free P.O. boxes in places it doesn't offer home delivery.
In 1998, the U.S. Postal Service revised its policy granting a P.O. box at no cost to customers who do not receive any form of carrier delivery. The goal was to help better fulfill the Postal Service's mission of providing universal mail delivery. But KGW found the policy isn't applied evenly. Some rural residents are getting P.O. boxes for free, while others pay. North Bonneville and Dowsport, two towns near White Salmon, get free P.O. boxes for nearly 4 out of 5 residents, while White Salmon gets 0. Across the Columbia River, it's the same thing. There's no home delivery for most residents in Cascade Locks, and the Postal Service provides no free P.O. boxes.
If we're not supposed to be paying, then why are we?
Most residents had no idea there was a policy providing P.O. boxes for free.
I've never gotten a little thing in my mailbox saying, hey, you know you have to pay for this.
When asked about the free P.O. boxes and who gets them, a spokesperson for the Postal Service explained that residents don't automatically qualify. They've got to apply, and eligibility determinations are handled on a case-by-case basis through local postal leadership and regional operational assessments.
This is a pretty straightforward problem to solve. We know that there's a inequity that exists that shouldn't be.
Smaller towns, especially in rural communities, often feel a little overlooked.
I do think this is another example of those things that build in a small town and can contribute to that mindset of feeling overlooked.
Residents in these small towns don't blame the people behind the counter.
I love my postal folks.
They say the problem isn't their local post office. It's Postal Service policy.
I don't know how that works.
They don't understand why they have to pay for a service many of their neighbors receive for free.